Es un año nuevo y los hermanos grandes es aquí. Un podcast con muchos temas muy interesantes. Muy interesante. Vas a reír, llorarás, disfrutarás. Por favor, suscríbete en tu plataforma de podcast favorita y regresa también. Adiós.
Jesus. You messed with the Jesus? You're like, you pull a piece on the lane, I'll take it from you and stick it up your ass and pull the trigger till it goes click.
That movie is like surprisingly upsetting when what is his name? Oh God, Steve Buscemi's character dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donnie.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, we're talking about
The Big Lebowski.
The
One
Big
of the
Lebowski.
greatest movies that's ever been released.
Absolutely.
Such a fantastic movie.
Was that Jeff Bridges?
Yeah, Jeff Bridges plays the dude.
It's so funny to watch like that movie after seeing like some of Jeff Bridges' other work. Especially if you like go back to back, like you watch True Grit, and then you go
another
watch
amazing movie. True Grit's that's one of my most favorite movies he's ever been in.
Yeah, isn't that one a remake of a different movie?
I think it's a remake of a John Wayne movie.
Yeah, that seems about right.
But it was really good.
Yeah.
I liked True Grit.
He did you ever see the Tron remake?
I did. Yeah, I kind of paid attention to it. It's kind of it's one of those things kind of on in the background. I really wasn't.
I just remember being kind of blown away with CGI young Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that he was CGI until like I don't know, probably a couple of years after I saw the movie. And somebody was like, "Yeah, they, even for the time that CGI was pretty good." And I was like, "I just now realized that
didn't know that
it was CGI. I had no fucking idea."
You just now told me.
Yeah, it's like there was that Beowulf movie. Do you remember that one year where there was like 5 or 6 Beowulf movies that came out?
Yeah, it was really odd.
Yeah, I don't know why that got picked up, but there was an animated one.
It was sort of animated. It was like a weird in-between type deal.
It
looked real.
There was one that was like entirely CGI animated.
Yeah.
And it was like, what's that called where the characters like look too real? But like Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, the Uncanny Valley. It's like it's not real, but it's oddly there's something about it's off.
It's like the closer you get to being like 100% real, like the more unsettling it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you see, like you remember when they released the demo footage? Was it for the Tomb Raider game that was coming out for the PS5 like a year and a half ago? When they were talking about like the what's the shapes that they use for
polygons.
Like graphic? Yeah, the polygons for the graphic design and everything like that, and like how like she would move in the game, and like the dust would kick up the same way like real dust would kick up. And
all that was being computed in real time.
Yeah.
It was like real particles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like as you're like moving through the game's like having to compute like, okay, she stepped in this pile of dirt, so all the dirt moves in this way.
Yeah, you imagine trying to run that on on like an old like 98 Dell desktop.
Fucking Commodore.
like that.
Yeah, you'd load up a floppy disk and that motherfucker would crash. It's really cool to think like that's how sorry, I know I hate it when the microphone knocks around like that, but I gotta get comfortable. Yeah, it's triangles.
Yeah.
Like those, like 3D. When you see anything in 3D, it's just a conglomeration of triangles. So the more triangles you have, the smoother things look.
Yeah, isn't that odd that particular shape is what kind of denotes that?
Yeah.
Like, why is it that shape in particular?
I have no idea.
Well,
it's because you would think it would be something more like a rectangle or a square.
Yeah.
Right, because if you've ever like gone into Microsoft Paint, like like old Microsoft Paint, and there was a button you could click.
It was always a dot
to do a square, or not a square, a circle, and you would drag the circle out. You would realize if you zoomed in, it was just a bunch of squares. When you zoomed out, it looked like a circle.
Yeah. Because each pixel is essentially a square.
Yeah. So that's the kind of way the way that those 3D models look. It's like if you zoomed in super close, you would see that it's just a bunch of triangles.
Yeah, and wasn't it like the thing with the QLED TVs when they first came out? It was the reason why they were so much better. Like the picture quality was so much better, especially like with dark movies, was because they would turn the pixels off depending upon like how dark the scene was.
Yeah. So like if you had like the color black.
Yeah.
Like, say, for instance, if you had, like, old Microsoft Paint and you filled in the entire screen with black, that wasn't truly black. That was just, like...
It was just you showing... It was showing you the color black.
It was showing you the color black. Well, like, those OLED screens and QLED screens, those pixels are turned off. Yeah. So there is no light being emitted, and that's about as black as you can get.
The absence of light.
Yeah. Speaking of, have you ever seen that Vanta Black stuff before?
Mm-mm.
It's a, I don't think it's a paint. It's more like a coating that they can put on things, which is what a paint is. But it's not. It's not like you can't like go to Home Depot and get a bucket of this stuff. It's like super like expensive and technical to make. But it absorbs like 99.9% of all light.
Really?
It hits it. Yeah. So the way the colors work is, it's a spectrum. So like white light hits that red, thing over there. Yeah. Only the red light reflects back, and that's why you see it as red.
And everything else is absorbed.
Everything else is absorbed. So when you see something that's black, it's because it's absorbing all the colors.
Yeah.
Well,
like this.
That combat blanket back there, whatever that is.
Yeah. This thing that you got hanging up right here. Like the words didn't come to me.
But so the Vanta Black stuff's really neat because it absorbs pretty much basically all light. Yeah. So it was really cool to see. Like I've only ever seen videos of it. I've never seen it real life.
It's just like Oblivion.
Yeah, it's just like a void. Yeah. Like there's like an absence of
like you're saying
existence there.
It's kind of making me uneasy.
Yeah, you're kind of looking at it like I don't know. I don't like the feelings that's making me feel.
Yeah, could you imagine like being in a room with all that and like there's like nobody turned on a light?
Yeah, if you were in a room like that and you thought you were in a pitch black room and then somebody who walked in...
even if somebody did turn on a light, wouldn't that be odd?
Yeah, because then it would still be dark.
Yeah, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Especially like somebody walked in and they were perfectly illuminated. Yeah. They would just look like it looked like they were just like floating in a void. I've kind of experienced the opposite of that before.
What, where you're pitch black and
no. No.
You are. I have become the void.
I am the void. No, it was actually at the haunted chicken house.
Oh, yeah.
You're
talking about that fog room with all the white walls and stuff? Yeah, that was really odd when you go in there.
What was so strange about that was I had never experienced anything like that before. Yeah. It was, I was like 27 at the time.
Yeah.
So 27 years on Earth, you've pretty much seen everything you could see visually.
Yeah, I do remember walking into that room. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's like for a moment there, my brain was like, new information. Yeah. Yeah, so you walked in and like the room, I guess, was like painted completely stark white. Mm-hmm. And they had a lot of bright lights in there, but the room was also full of like fog, like really dense fog. So when you walk in, it looks like you're in like just a white void that stretches on for all eternity. Yeah. And that was immediately what my brain said that was.
Yeah, I was like, I'm never getting out of here.
It was like the first time I'd ever gone to a haunted house.
I now exist in this plane of existence.
Yeah. It was like the first time I'd ever gone to a haunted house and something actually kind of freaked me out.
It reminded me of that movie, The Mist.
Yeah.
Yeah, except without all the shitty plot lines.
Yeah, all the fucking tentacles and all of that shit.
The thing I remember most about that movie, and I'm sure we've already probably talked about this, but at the end of the movie, where... Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this movie, I'm about to ruin the end of it. But it's a shitty movie, so you shouldn't watch it anyway. So at the end of the movie, where he shoots everybody in the car, and then he's like the only one standing there, and he's like screaming into the steering wheel.
Yeah, because he has no bullets left.
And then all of a sudden, there's like a soldier like walks by and
just like looks into the car like what. They're like burning away the mist or whatever. Like if you'd have waited if you'd have waited like 5 more minutes, like not even, you'd be like, oh, thank God, I was about to murder everybody.
Yeah, I was about to murder
save
everybody
us all
in this car.
Like turns out I didn't have to do that. It might have been a bit of an overreaction.
I remember, because I remember in the movie theater when that happened, I started laughing just like I just started laughing right now. And there was like, the movie theater was packed. This is back when people went to movies.
Yeah.
And like everybody like turned like,
like, what the fuck is this psychopath? This man just murdered his family. That's hilarious.
And then Allison was sitting next to me. She just like put her hand up. And I'm just like cracking up at this scene. I'm like, how stupid.
What wasn't there there was some movie that really pissed you off when you saw it?
The Village.
Yeah, that's
The
what
Village.
it was. Yeah. What was it about? Because I actually liked that movie.
Damn you, Midnight Shenanigans. He gave the ending of it away before the ending.
Yeah, I guess he did, didn't he?
I was like, well, you wait. Like, I don't care about the ending now.
Yeah, there was like 45 minutes left in the movie.
Yeah, it's like I'm not emotionally invested in this movie at all anymore.
Yeah, it's called a twist ending because it comes at the end.
At the end.
It's not called the twist middle.
Yeah, not at the beginning of the third act. What are you doing?
Was there ever a movie that you went to go see that you were like, I wish I had my money back? Like sitting in the theater. I know what mine was. Worst movie I've ever seen in theaters.
Not that I can really remember.
Mine was Meet the Spartans.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I knew that was going to be a shit movie when it came out.
Well, I was right on the cusp of growing out of that, out of that kind of humor.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess the timer ticked down to 0 as soon as the movie started because I didn't enjoy a single bit of it.
You're just like, why?
I was like,
I still sitting
this
here?
is so fucking bad.
Yeah.
And I was with 2 friends, and it was you kind of have that moment when you're a kid, or when you're a teenager in high school, or whatever, where you're like, I can actually go out and do things if I want to go do things. And we were like, hey, let's go all see a movie because we can do that together. And it was me and 2 of my buddies, we went to go see Meet the Spartans. And and we were 3 little shitheads who liked pranking people and being nuisances.
And you're just like,
this is so fucking stupid.
Well, it's this, and it was an okay movie. And maybe it's because I went and saw it by myself. But I remember when, was it Food Party? Or what was Sausage Party?
Yeah, Sausage Party.
When Sausage Party came out, the movie was okay. I was like, oh, okay. And then spoiler alert, the end food orgy scene, for me it just went on too long. And it's and I know that was probably them hey, we're gonna fuck with everybody,
fuck with the audience a little bit,
and make this scene way too long. I was like, oh, ha, 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 we'll probably get a minute of this. And then minute 6, I'm like, all right.
That movie, I had this inner battle with myself watching that movie where I was like, I have to accept this movie for what it is.
Yeah.
It's just Seth Rogen making weed jokes.
Yeah.
And he decided to do it in a cartoon this time rather than with, what's his name? James Franco.
Yeah. Yeah, they did that too many times.
Yeah.
Because when Pineapple Express first came out,
that is a fucking hilarious movie.
One of the funniest fucking movies I have ever
I still go and
seen.
watch that movie and laugh all the time.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite part in that whole movie is when, after he witnesses the first murder, he goes back to James Franco's house and he was like, I just saw a fucking murder. And he was like, well, who got murdered? And he was like, or something. He was like, there was a cop, a lady, and a guy. He goes, a cop, a lady, and a guy, that's a massacre. The first time I ever watched that movie, he just the way he delivers that line, I just fucking cried laughing. I had to pause the movie. I couldn't watch it. I had to gather myself.
I think the funniest part in that whole movie was Danny McBride, where they he gets shot all those times, and then he runs over was it Craig?
I know who you're talking about. I can never remember his name. Is it Ferguson?
Williams or something like that. I can't remember his last name. But when he hits him with the car in the barn, he's like, you just ain't got owned by a day woo, motherfucker.
He blows the end of his foot off with that shotgun. Oh, man.
Or the part where he pokes his head up out of the manhole. He's like, he says something now about Mr. Folgers.
He said, well, if it ain't Mr. Folgers. He was talking about his partner getting soft.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was like, man, he's like, you getting soft on me. He's like, oh, I seen you rip a man's jaw off. I seen it.
That was such a good movie.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. But it's like you said, they did it way too many times.
Yeah.
And another problem I had with Sausage Party was like, it's like, you kind of have to accept it for what it is, but at the same time, it does that thing that I can't stand in movies where they break their own rules too many times.
Yeah. Like if you kind of do like one kind of for the lulz or whatever, like I get it, especially like with a cartoon or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like if you break down, like if the structure of the story continues to break down like that, it's like, well, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Like we had all this setup, and it was for nothing. And Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's about, the novelty of that movie kind of wears off within like the first 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, okay, I get this. Like once the part is revealed where like the great beyond or whatever is not what they think it is, that movie kind of caps out at that point.
Yeah.
And everything after that is just kind of like a slog.
It's like I said, it's like you've solved the story within the first two acts or at the beginning of the third.
That movie would have been better served if they went through the entire movie thinking that the great beyond was what they thought it was.
Yeah.
And then, but we as the audience, of course, would know that it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so they would be funny to see, them constantly thinking that. And then at the very end, that horrific shit happened to them.
Yeah.
And then that was the end of the movie.
Yeah. Or like, like he gets shoved up somebody's ass or something.
Yeah, something like
that. If they
that.
wanted to go that route, because obviously that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah, it's a Seth Rogen movie.
Yeah, you could have taken it in that direction.
Yeah,
like
everybody
the
knew what
last
they were
thing
in
he
for.
sees is just like a butthole.
I wouldn't put it past him to open up the movie with the opening shot of an asshole.
Oh yeah,
and like Seth Rogen's hot dog going towards it, and then does like the freeze frame thing, like, "Yep, that's me."
Yeah, but you wonder how I got here.
Well, it all starts with a little story. Well, let's bring in the podcast here. Hello and welcome again to episode 19 of the Thicc Bois podcast.
Yes, welcome back, everybody.
This is the.
We're
we're in our second year.
Yep, I think we're finally in our second year because our first episode dropped on the 14th of last year. I think
14th of November or October.
November, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was November. So yeah, here we are in starting out year 2 of the Thicc Bois podcast.
We'll try to do a little bit better this year.
Yeah, as well as the same old song and dance that we've always said.
We didn't end too strong year 1, but...
Well, it was kind of funny because like we had like 5 episodes back to back, and then like in that last episode, I was like, man, we're doing really good, and then we just like missed like 6 weeks. But I've been busy as shit lately.
I have too.
It all felt,
everything kind of happens all at once, especially around the holidays.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I started a lot of projects.
Oh yeah.
And I hate starting with something and then like stopping halfway through.
Yeah.
It's like you probably saw the crater that I dug in front of my porch.
I didn't see it. I guess I wasn't paying attention. I heard the dogs barking. I was like,
yeah.
Oh, they're mad. They're mad that I'm here.
So that little area right in front of the porch when we first moved into this house was like, it's like partitioned off from the rest of the yard with a bunch of big rocks. And then on the ends in it was lava rock. But lava rock is very porous. So when I was cutting the grass, I was throwing a bunch of seed over in there, and then like it would rain. So all the weeds got down to the soil, and then it just became another section of the yard partitioned off by rocks.
Yeah.
So it was just a big weed bed.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there's not really anything I can do with this. I'm just going to have to dig it up and, put down some more weed block and throw down some wood chips or something.
You can do like mulch.
Yeah, something like that. But I had a big yard work day. I went outside and...
Oh, those are always fun.
Yeah, well, cut the grass and I edged the driveway and weeded, blah, blah, did all that shit. And like I had blew up all the leaves, which I guess was really no point in doing that. Yeah. So I got started on that project.
Yeah.
And I dug out about 10 foot of it.
Yeah.
And then the fucking handle on my wheelbarrow snapped off.
Really?
It just rotted away. Yeah. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not filling up this 5-gallon Home Depot bucket 5 million times. No. I was like, so I'm just going.
This project's done for today.
I'm done for today. I was like, I'm just going to hit pause on this, and then we'll pick this back up when I get a wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, those fucking things are expensive.
Yeah, they're very expensive.
I
you know what's really expensive? Expensive is the roll-up Wheeze like hose reel. Like $65 for one of those.
The fucking plastic ones you put like on the side of your house?
Yes, we were in Home Depot. This is $65 they wanted for one of those.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's just the ones that are on the ground.
Wow.
Like go in like the little box and you're
those. Okay. Yeah.
But still $65.
Yeah. When it probably cost them like under $1 to manufacture.
It's probably at most like $5.
Because it's just plastic.
Yeah, it's all plastic.
Yeah. All the fasteners and all that.
There's nothing metal on it.
No. That's insane.
It's like, they probably just poured it into a mold.
Yeah, they're just like pumping out hundreds of these fucking things, and every minute or second.
Yeah, it's got like the Acme music playing in the background.
Bum, 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 bum.
It was like some dude with a mallet.
Have you ever watched How It's Made?
Yes, I've seen like some of the episodes they've done on like ho-hos or like something like that, like where they do like candy and stuff.
Yeah, those are always interesting ones, especially like snack cakes and stuff like that, because you think there would be some human element from start to finish somewhere, and there usually isn't. There's not. It's entirely automated.
Yeah,
and you would think there's a human element there because it's food, right? Like, how can they package these things?
Yeah,
just putting like the individual cakes into the plastic part at least has to be human.
Working in the industry that I work in now, it doesn't surprise me anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, you see the horrors that you see are all automated.
Yeah. Yes, all the killing machines.
The murder machines.
The murder machines.
Mankind's ingenuity for evil has no bounds. But man chicken is sure as tasty.
Could you imagine like being like an alien and be like, hey, oh my God.
This is how they eat everything like this.
Imagine like if like God came back and he like came down, he's like, hey, what are you, Jesus?
It's like, y'all might as well take it a step further and add like a machine on the end of the line that fries the chicken and then shoves it in your mouth. You like set up an appointment to go.
The nice thing is I don't
fed.
work in that part anymore. I work with the software, so I don't really have to do it.
You really have to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to turn a blind eye.
I get to see the finished product, which is like where it comes through. It's like a rotisserie chicken. It's got like that look to it.
That's funny. It's just, the thing that always amazes me is like you watch one of those episodes, like how they do, just say like how they make fucking ice cream sandwiches or something like that, and it's like it looks like it looks over-engineered. Like if you look at the amount of machinery and everything that's happening all at once, like, and they're making, fucking 50,000 ice cream sandwiches a second.
Yeah.
And you start thinking like, okay, 50,000 ice cream sandwiches a second and this one line at this one factory.
No.
And like I've probably myself have eaten maybe 4 ice cream sandwiches my whole life.
Like who are eating these
who's eating all these fucking ice cream sandwiches? Where are they going?
Yeah.
But you look at these machines and they take up from by now they'll probably have a more streamlined way to do it. But when they first start out, I mean, it's as long as a fucking football field, like from start to finish. And think about everything that has to be timed correctly. All those little like arms and belts and gizmos and gadgets.
Oh, yeah.
And like I always wonder like how often do they have to go and recalibrate these things? Something has to get off time at some point.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, it always gets off time. So, I mean, most of especially, well, not so much in the industry that I work in because there is still some human element to it, but for like, stuff like that, it's like your human element is the maintenance guys, the technicians. Yeah. Like those are the guys that are the human element.
Yeah, I mean, like, even from like boxing, like from cooking the thing to putting it together, to putting it in an individual plastic wrapper, and then putting that into a box, and then putting those boxes on a pallet. Like all of that from start to finish is all automated. And like there's no human element until the guy with the forklift drives up and takes the pallet away.
Well, I mean, it's like, have you ever seen, I think the History Channel does this series, which is a great series. It's called The Food That Built America. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
So it goes through like some of the tycoons. Like it tells the story of Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
And it tells the
Who was
story,
insane.
Who was a
We've talked about him before.
Crazy person.
Y'all don't understand. You got to look up Colonel Sanders. Like, dude, that man.
Colonel Sanders is a fucking G.
he fucking was. Yeah. He really was.
Yes. He shot and killed a dude.
Yeah.
Like, next to a fucking, like, was it like a advertisement sign for some chicken?
Yeah. Yeah, he was on that hood shit, man. And he was like a lawyer.
Oh, yeah. Was he got kicked out of court or something for being drunk, like trying to fight the judge?
Yeah.
Or something? No, he was trying to fight the person on the prosecution stand. Like the person they were going after.
It's like there's that, you watch Futurama?
Yeah.
Like one of the characters is like the one they always use for a lawyer is that chicken. And I'm pretty sure that's a nod to Colonel Sanders because he's wearing like that, that Southern Savannah gentleman get up or whatever.
I think my favorite character that kind of like embodies that is Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah.
What I say, boy.
Well, I said, you'd get the fuck off my property. But yeah, so the food thing you were talking about. You were talking about the food that built America?
Yeah. So they go through that, and then they go through like Milton Hershey, and they go through like the startup of Mars candy bars and that kind of stuff.
Wasn't that like an offshoot of Hershey? Mars was?
At one point, Mars was actually using Hershey's chocolate to make M&Ms.
Oh, okay.
So they go through like Milton Hershey, like he was doing like, of course, like candy bars, and candy bars were like walnuts and all this stuff, and like they were showing like all the people that like worked for him and everything. It's a really interesting series. You should go watch it. Everybody else listening should go watch it.
I've seen things before, like on like things like the big companies like in America these days, like with Walmart, and things like that. There's a lot of bloodshed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and scandal. And, like, you wouldn't think that because they always present it to you as, like, this family that pulled themselves up by the bootstraps. And it's like, no, they were stepping on corpses to get to the top.
Speaking of which, there is a really good docuseries on Hulu. I don't know if you've seen it or not yet. It's called Dope Sick.
I think you were telling me about that.
Yeah, and it's about the... that's another really good one. I just watched I don't know if it's the last episode, but it's the last one that came out. And it's about the Sackler family, which are the heads of Purdue Pharma, which were the ones that created OxyContin. And essentially it goes through the story of how they like went and misrepresented a bunch of information to essentially say that OxyContin was non-addictive.
Oh, wow.
And so like they were pushing like 160 milligram tablets. They're like, oh yeah, you just up the dosage. Like that was their driving thing that they'd tell doctors is like, oh, if the patient has more, they would call it like breakthrough pain. Yeah. Like where it wouldn't last the 12 hours it said it was supposed to last. Like, oh yeah, let's give them more.
Now, I can say that with my experience with OxyContin, especially recently with the kidney stone thing, the pills that I was taking, I couldn't tell you the milligram or whatever, but they definitely didn't last 12 hours. It was enough to put me to sleep for about 6 or 7 hours, and then I would wake up and I would like, fuck, I need another one. But isn't OxyContin like is it derived from an opiate, right?
Oxycodone. Yeah, oxycodone is the active ingredient in OxyContin, I think, which is not, I don't know if it's active ingredient, but it's the active painkiller that
isn't it basically like a heroin pill?
Yeah, it's essentially heroin.
Yeah. It's heroin in pill form.
Like they were going through and they were showing how many of these people would get hooked on this shit, and they couldn't get the prescription anymore because they essentially turned into drug addicts. Yeah. Because the doctors just give them how much ever they wanted. Yeah. It's like, so essentially the doctors were just feeding this drug addiction. Yeah. And then essentially when they were like, no more of that, and doctors started cutting people off, it's like, well, then they're going through withdrawals and shit. And it's like, well, now they're just like, well,
what are your options?
Yeah, what are my options? It's fucking black tar heroin. That's, what most of these people were doing.
Yeah, that's, I've seen, firsthand what that kind of addiction does to people. That's like, so when I got...
Oh, yeah, we both have intimate
So when I got those pills,
what happens.
I was really... I don't know, I was really adverse to even taking them. Mm-hmm. I was like, fuck, I was in a lot of pain, and I was
Yeah.
like, "There's the answer's right here." I was like, "I
Yeah.
just have to get over myself and take this pill."
Yeah, not only that, but did you know that the chart that's in the doctor's offices is like rate your pain on a scale of 1 to 10
Yeah.
with the little faces and everything?
Mm-hmm.
That's Purdue Pharma.
Really?
They made that.
Now, how much, how many revisions and iterations do you think that went through before they settled on that? Because on the outside, it's just a bunch of smiley
very
faces.
simple, right?
It does.
Yeah, it seems very simple. But
I
maybe
guarantee you there's some psychology behind it.
Oh, absolutely, there was psychology that. I mean, you got to think like they probably showed that to countless like
focus groups
and all that kind of stuff and doctors. Like the thing about when it's not that it was Purdue Pharma directly that created that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a contingency of doctors that essentially they had hired that were pain specialists, and then the pain specialists came up with it, and this group was allowed to slap their name on
So
it.
they were just in
But
fucking
essentially,
cahoots with each
it
other.
was funded by Purdue Pharma.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but the original label that the FDA signed off on that said it was non-addictive, the guy that signed off on that label, after that label got signed, went and worked for Purdue Pharma as an executive.
No.
The guy that signed that label
How
through the
about
FDA.
that?
Imagine.
Ain't that some shit?
Imagine the government being in bed.
Yeah.
Interesting.
How about that? Hey, it's the same old Thicc Boys, ladies and gentlemen. We're bitching about the government.
Speaking of which, I was going through Hartsfield-Jackson today when I got home.
Is that Atlanta Airport?
Yep.
Okay.
And there is a massive, like 2 of them, massive signs that says the CIA is looking for people just like you, and it has like a career. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, are you serious? Like
billboards, essentially.
like billboards, like on the inside of the fucking airport.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
It's like a recruiting ad?
Yeah. I'll take a picture next time I go up there.
I've never seen anything about hiring for the CIA ever.
It was fucking creepy. Like I was like looking, I was like, what the fuck? And it's just got like, this dude like he's got like his hand on like this girl's shoulder. They're like looking at a computer and she's typing on the computer.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Are you
Just
serious?
staging a queue.
Yeah.
A queue hashtag Wednesdays. Yeah. Oh, look, they're eating him alive in the town square.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, that's really interesting. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever seen any kind of hiring ad for
A government agency.
outside of the military.
Like, outside of the military,
Yeah.
of course, but like the CIA?
Yeah, not or FBI, anything like that.
There's no reason why the CIA should, number one, it shouldn't, how many ever people they're trying to get, it's like, guess what? You get the people that come to you.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be reaching out to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, they shouldn't be having a shortage of manpower.
No.
The
thing I was thinking.
And they recruit, like,
Yeah.
the tip top.
Yeah, and because I was thinking.
They're not getting whoever's coming through the Atlanta airport.
No. Yeah. It was like, it's like, I know that, like, they don't hire.
I don't think they hire from outside.
I
wouldn't think that they
Well,
do.
it's like they go to like Princeton and Harvard. Like they want really smart people working for the agency.
I'm sure they have several positions. There's got to be a janitor at the CIA headquarters,
exactly.
right? But
I looked at it. I was like, how many people are they trying to get? Like, how big are they trying to grow that agency?
Yeah, that's
I was
really
like, and why are they trying to grow that agency that big?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a big world.
Yeah.
Lots of countries to overthrow.
Yeah, but still, for you to like reach out, like Hartsfield-Jackson was like the busiest airport in the world.
Yeah, well, that's why that billboard is there.
So I don't know. It was just, I guess it's just like
Did it seem a bit Orwellian to you?
It did. It very much so. Like I looked at it and I was like, "Eee."
You like recoiled away from it.
I wish like you could have like taken a picture of me like standing there like it's like a time lapse of people like walking by me and me just like looking at this sign like from the back and like put it on a book or something. Like I was just like looking at it. I was just like, "What the fuck?"
He was just a traveling chicken murderer.
Yeah.
Until the CIA needed his help. We're trying to overthrow Chickentopia.
Yeah. I was looking at it. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, that's really funny.
I don't know. Something about it was very ominous.
Ominous. Yeah,
it's very ominous. I was like, ugh,
absolutely.
Ugh, that's like shivering. Ugh.
I wanted to say something about that pain scale graphic that we were talking about. It was funny that you brought that up because I had kind of had that thought in my head the last time I was at the doctor's office and I saw that thing. And I was looking at it, and I looked at because it's 1 to 10, and 10 I think is it says can't stand it or something like that. Mm-hmm. But even the face at 10 is not. You would think the pain I was in, if I was in charge of okay, what's 10? Yeah. The face would be twisted in agony. But even at 10, that face just looks upset. Oh no, I'm in the worst possible pain.
Yeah,
oh boo hoo.
Yeah, with that particular face just kind of looks like somebody's really sad.
Yeah,
but
the real
you just watched a dog get hit by a car.
That's gonna keep me up tonight.
Yeah,
I think there's a reason why, because if somebody was in a lot of pain, everybody's got that. They get that thing in them where they want to be I can muscle through this. Yeah. And if they looked at the face that looked like, a Renaissance painting of a man on fire, they're like, well, I don't want to be dramatic.
Yeah. Or the guy that's getting sawed down the middle.
Yeah. So I think that's the reason why that it's so why it's so mild is because you don't feel bad about saying that I'm definitely out of 10. I mean, I'm worse off than that guy right there. I got to be a fucking 15. No. Give me Dilaudid in pill form, whatever that is. Just whack me over the head with a wooden mallet and get me out of this.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that with drugs like that, like painkillers, that just because it's in a pill form and because some doctor somewhere is trying to push it, that that's okay.
Yeah, it's better than
it's better than
I mean,
given
the options,
I know that it's better. I'm not arguing that fact, but the fact that it's we still people need to kind of understand it's that's still drugs.
That's still drugs. Yeah,
it's still
very
drugs.
It is drugs.
Yeah, just because there's a doctor that gave it to you doesn't make it any less of a drug.
Yeah, it's I would rather have if the doctor came in and he was like, look, I don't know how you feel about this kind of thing.
Yeah, he's got a spoon.
He puts on a Dark Side of the Moon album.
Yeah, he's got a spoon and a belt.
Yeah. He's like, they cut our budget, so crackhead Terry down the street gave us this, and we're all sharing the needle. The doctor's got fucking track marks in his arm. He's like, man, listen, this shit's good.
All of a sudden, Comfortably Numb starts playing.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about, I've seen heroin before.
Yeah, you were talking about when you used to work at the golf cart shop.
Did I talk about that on the podcast?
I don't think so.
So I used to work at a place in Villarica. Fuck it. Shout out to Putting Around Golf Carts. If you want a customized golf cart, that's the place to go. If you need service, that's the place to go. We built all kinds of cool shit. We'd put fucking four-wheel drive in golf carts. We put computers in golf carts that make them go 45 miles an hour. We did lift kits and tow hitches and stuff. Anything you could think to do, we did.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite job I have ever had. It was just every day was just building something cool.
Yeah.
Until one day. So the way the process worked was somebody would come in and they would buy a base model cart and then they would, add all the shit to it.
Yeah, tell you what you want.
So our carts usually came from golf courses. So I would strip them all down to just the frame and the chassis, and then I would pressure wash it. That's where you started, just to clean it up or whatever. And so I was outside pressure washing one of the golf carts, and the FedEx guy showed up, and he's like, hey, I got a package for you. He was like, okay, I signed for it. And we kind of chit-chatted a little bit. He left. I went back to doing what I was doing. And then my boss came back there, and, we were kind of talking to each other, and he goes to open up the package, and I'm not looking at him.
Yeah.
I'm still pressure washing the golf cart or whatever, and I hear him go, what the fuck? And I look back, and he's holding this, I really don't know how to explain it other than it looked like a pillow made out of duct tape.
Yeah.
And he had cut open one edge of it, and just all the weed
that was packed in this thing. I mean, it was like 40 pounds of weed just packed in this duct taped thing. And me and him both stood there and looked at that like, is that a fucking weed? There was like 5 or 6 of them in this box. But also in this box with this duct taped up weed was a freezer bag, like a vacuum sealed bag.
Yeah.
And what it looked like was a square like paper napkin with like a brown stain, like a light brown, like think like a coffee stain.
Yeah.
In the middle of it. And we're like, well, I don't know what the fuck this is. We just kind of tossed it to the side.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, we know what that is. Yeah. So, of course, we called the police and we told them what was going on. And they showed up, and they were standing there. They're looking at the weed, taking our what do you call it? Statements, whatever. And one of the other cops that was there, he looks over at the golf cart where we had tossed that napkin, and he goes, "Was that in that box?" And we were like, "Yeah." He goes, "That's black tar heroin." And we were like, "What the fuck?"
It's like I've never even seen
that shit before. What happened is the address that box was shipped to was very similar to our address. So it was actually near it, where it was supposed to go. It was actually near where we were.
Yeah. I mean, that place was not in a good part.
Well, back behind, the shop is right there on Main Street. Yeah. But directly behind the shop, that's kind of a pretty rough area.
Yeah.
Right there next to the primary school.
Yeah, right next to the primary school.
But they were like, they're like, you know.
I wonder if they ever found out where that was supposed to go.
Well, they did. And they took a plainclothes officer, and they took him with the box.
Yeah.
And they made him go up to the front door and knock on it and say, "Hey, I received this package. I think it's yours."
Yeah.
And the guys just looked at it and said, "It's not mine. Close the door." Because if he had taken it, then they would have swarmed the house.
Yeah.
They had set up a sting and everything.
Yeah.
But because he did, they're like, "Well, I guess we just destroy it now because we can't just you know we just get rid of it now."
Because at that point, then it would be entrapment.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I guess technically, isn't that kind of entrapment?
What they tried to do the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By definition, it kind of is.
Yeah, I think it kind of is. But you can say bait car is entrapment.
Yeah, that's true.
Bait car is definitely entrapment.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's sort of like when they used to have like the female officers that go out and like try to get the Johns and stuff.
Oh,
like, that's entrapment.
Yeah. I think they still do that shit.
Oh, yeah. They don't give a fuck about the law.
Yeah.
It's like, we are the law.
Yeah, we are the I am the Hague. But yeah, they were like,
I am the void.
I am the void. Some police officer shows up. He's absorbing 99% of all visible light.
Like some type of like, what was it, the Harry Potter movies with the Dementors?
Yeah, the Dementor. Starts sucking the soul out of a guy. You'll never feel happiness again. But yeah, it was the police officer said that what likely it was because of the amount of weed compared to the amount of heroin was they were likely going to lace the weed with this heroin.
Wow, really?
Yeah, so that whoever smoked it would be like, wow, whatever that weed was you gave me sure was good. I would like some more of that.
Yeah.
And then they would give them regular weed.
Yeah.
And that regular weed wouldn't cut it. And they would say, do you have anything a bit stronger? And like, well, I got fucking heroin. If you want to try heroin, So, but yeah, it was a very interesting day.
That's why I kind of think I don't think it's important, but I think it would work a lot better. Like you've seen some of the success that like some of the other states have had with like legalizing it. Is like because if it was FDA regulated, where it's like the FDA just it's it's sort of like alcohol.
Yeah.
Like alcohol fuck you up too. Alcohol is a drug.
Alcohol destroys lives.
Changes
every
brain
day.
chemistry and all that stuff. Like if weed was regulated by the FDA and the FDA was like, you have to have these things in place, it's like you were subject to random searches and checks and all this stuff to make sure that it's just like any other industry, like farming industry, right? Plus that, and then you have like hemp that you can use for different things like rope and clothes and all this other stuff. It's like, wouldn't that be better than having an unregulated market that can do that, just does that kind of shit?
Yeah, throws heroin in.
Throws heroin in with it. It's like where, like, if you have like a dispensary that like you can actually check to make sure that like this is not happening with the product. Like, wouldn't that be more beneficial than just being like, oh, well, you can't have it at all?
Yeah.
And then,
like, and you know where it's coming
you've created
from.
A black market, and now you've got crime associated with this kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, because then people wouldn't have to rely on going to, Johnny Two Toes down the street there
Yeah, exactly.
and getting heroin-laced weed from him. They could go to the dispensary and get actual...
they can go buy a plant that grows naturally, and you can literally walk through the forest and pick it off and smoke and get high.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of, even just, aside from smoking it and getting high, there's like CBD that is derived from marijuana.
Oh yeah, it's the same. It's like I was saying with hemp. It's like hemp is an amazing. Like you can make clothes with it and paper, and
I mean we've used CBD oil on the dogs before, like when 4th of July or whatever fireworks, because they do not.
Yeah.
They do not do good with the fireworks. Like we have to give them CBD, and then Mary has to lay in bed with them with the TV really loud so they're not hearing it. Like they freak the fuck out.
No.
So I've seen it work on them.
No.
So I mean I know that stuff has applications.
Yeah. Well, there's also that, and then I don't know if you've read, but apparently like they've started doing like PTSD tests with like psilocybin and ketamine.
Yeah.
For like people that have come back from war. Mm. Essentially, from the way that I've heard it, it's essentially you're like in there, like they take them in with like a therapist, and like they give them the drug or whatever. And I don't think it really lasts that terribly too long, but essentially it allows them. We were talking about ego death the other day, or in one of the podcasts, right?
Yeah.
Like so, it allows them to like emotionally remove themselves from the situation so that they can like observe it.
Oh,
that way, like
really?
there's not the emotion attached to it. That way, you're
looking at it from like a logical
an outside
standpoint.
perspective,
Yeah.
like a logical outside perspective.
Right.
That way, you're able to process this information rather than having your emotions involved, where it's like you can't do that.
Yeah, isn't that really interesting that your brain kind of operates on two planes at all times?
Yeah, like it's
your
collecting
logical side
information.
and your emotional side are constantly like vying for control.
Yeah,
It's really weird. It's like you've probably experienced it before too. Like, say you have a problem, not like a 2 + 2, but like an issue that's going on in your life. Yeah. You might know that you need to do this thing. You know that you need to do this thing, but you want to do the other thing.
The other thing, yeah.
You know that you're gonna do the other thing, but you also know you need to do this thing. So even then, all at the same time, you're having you're having the conflict happening in your mind. You're aware of the conflict that's happening in your mind. You're aware that you're aware of your brain's doing a whole lot of processing, all at the same time.
Yeah, it's like it's collecting like this information through this tunnel, and it understands what's going on at all times. But you can only really react to one set of variables.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like it's collecting all the variables.
Right.
Like that way, like I said, like if that treatment works the way that it does work, and they said that they've had pretty good success with it, the fact that like, you can also have this information over here that was there the whole time. It's like you weren't able to access that information,
Yeah, the brain is really interesting when you start considering like kind of like the meta side of it. Like the brain is aware of itself.
Yeah.
Like me and you right now, we're two brains communicating with one another. Like the way that we're speaking is by vibrating our vocal cords and sending vibrations through the air, which your ears pick up and then tell your brain what I just said.
Exactly.
And all that's happening, in an instant.
Yeah.
And my brain is aware that that's how it operates.
Yeah.
It's
like this. Well, isn't that like that's what they say kind of like separates us from like other animals in the animal kingdom? Is like the self-awareness.
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
But they've done like studies on different primates and stuff like that about like whether or not they have self-awareness or awareness of the self. No. Like self-awareness is like if you have his legs hurt.
It's like I'm not just driven by primal urges all the time. Like I'm just reacting to things all the time.
Like if a orangutan like stubs his toe.
Yeah.
And he feels that, and he knows he has stubbed his toe. That's self-awareness. But awareness of the self is if he looks in a mirror and he says, "That's me."
Yeah.
Which they have done tests before. I think they put like a dot on his forehead or something like that, and they had him look in a mirror, and he starts touching the dot. So he realized,
that's me.
That's me. There's something on my head. Yeah. It was really interesting. Oh fuck! By the way, did you see? We've talked about Neuralink before. That thing that Elon Musk is trying to do.
Yeah.
Did you see where they had that little fucking monkey? He had like there was a screen in front of him, and he had a joystick, and he knew how to move the joystick to make a ball move on 2 squares, like a little game.
Yeah.
And every time he did that, like some banana smoothie would come through this tube, and he would eat it.
Yeah.
And he would so he would sit there, and he would just do that.
Yeah.
And he would just move this ball around on the squares and eat banana smoothie. Well, at one point, they uploaded the Neuralink thing.
Yeah.
And took away and unplugged the joystick from the screen. So he was moving the joystick, but it wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
It was entirely being controlled by his mind.
Really?
Yeah, and he was doing it.
How crazy.
I mean, he thought he was controlling it with the joystick or whatever.
Yeah.
But
because you imagine it had blown his fucking mind. He'd be like,
yeah. Yeah. But
it blew my mind. That did freak me out.
But that was what he was saying, was like the processing power of your mind is on par with like computers that we have nowadays.
Yeah, yeah.
But like there's just the input lag of, your brain thinking, okay, move your hand up so that the joystick goes up, and like your body is frustratingly slow compared to what your brain is capable of. Yeah.
The amount of processing that your brain is capable of being able to do in an instant.
Yeah. Even like, your brain has the ability to create chemicals.
Yeah.
To make you to change how you feel about things.
Yeah.
So if your brain sees something and realizes, okay, in order to circumnavigate this situation right now, we need to feel this way, create this chemical. And now you feel a certain way, and you can better deal with whatever the situation is. Yeah. Like that's what an emotional response is. It's your brain reacting appropriately to a situation.
Yeah, and I mean it's really when you break it down, all it is just it's just consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Like
then it becomes okay. If you consider the mechanics behind a brain, it's all chemicals and electrical synapses, and those are physical, measurable things.
Yeah.
Is that all that your conscious is created?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, well, then what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it still doesn't answer the question.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
so there's got to be something more.
Yeah, there's something, like it's more than just kind of what, like there's just these chemicals and like electrical signals.
Yeah.
Because that makes no sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But the thing is, though, if consciousness is in fact just a wild computation that's constantly happening at all times in your head, could we create a computer that is able to do that same thing?
Yeah.
And create, the first artificial intelligence. Because the thing that separates, well,
then you start getting into the question of like what annotates what life is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, well, let's imagine that we create a computer that's smart enough to realize self. It understands what it is.
Yeah. But
let's say that computer is also able to run a program in the background where it creates an entirely different world. Mm-hmm. And but what if it starts creating people that start evolving?
Right.
And now they create AI.
Yeah.
Inside of this program that this AI is running.
Well, that's kind of where that whole simulation theory thing comes from. Right, that we're all living in a simulation. Yeah. It's the thing that lends itself credibility there is the simple fact that we even thought that that's a possibility.
Yeah. Kind
of gives it,
some legs
to stand on. But the thing about artificial intelligence is like, we have what's that one? Sophia is.
That's the Microsoft one.
No. That was
take it offline.
God, what was that called? It was something with a T. Like it wasn't like Trisha. It was like
Tammy or something
Tara?
like that. Yeah, Tara.
Something like that. Yeah, that artificial intelligence that was online for a couple hours and then immediately became racist. Well, it's because they put it on Twitter. That's what it was learning from. But the thing
Twitter's such a fucking cesspool.
Oh yeah. But it was like this AI Sophia. It was like you could ask it a question, and it would respond to you. Well, fucking Siri does the same thing, but Siri is just looking through a log of responses to questions.
Yeah.
It can't just think of something and say it.
Yeah.
So the difference between artificial intelligence, a true artificial intelligence, is its ability to think.
Yeah.
And create what they call logic leaps,
Yeah.
right? So if
Well, okay. Well, you went through enough programming when you were in college. It's like, aren't you running just if else statements all the time?
that's kind of what it is. Yeah, just fucking Boolean statements
Yeah.
all the time.
It's either a 1 or a 0.
Yeah. I mean,
And
yeah.
like when you make a decision, when you make a choice, like I see this, I'm gonna pick it up.
Yeah, or not pick it up.
Yeah, or not pick it up. I
Right.
could put it back, or I could hold it in my hand. It's just an if else statement. If this, then that.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
Like
when-
that's what it all breaks down to.
Yeah, it's really interesting too when you start thinking about like bodily functions.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever been like? I had this thought the other day. I was at the gym, and I was
If poo too much, poo pants.
I was doing something. I think I might have been doing chest flies, and I was thinking like while I was doing it, I was like, how am I doing this?
Yeah.
Like what's the
How is it that I know to do this?
Yeah.
First of all,
like I know that I can grab these 2 bars and bring them out in front of me. I can do that. I'm doing that. But
Yeah.
how
am I
doing
yeah.
that? How is my brain making this happen right
Yeah.
now? It's like you ever been walking and
Yeah.
you look down at your legs like, how am I doing this?
Yeah. It's like I'm not even thinking about it.
I'm not even thinking, I'm just doing it.
Yeah.
I think that if I want to stop, I can stop. I've stopped.
Yeah.
I want to go again, I can go again. But how am I doing
Yeah,
it?
but even like in the background, your brain's doing stuff like controlling your heart and controlling your pancreas and controlling your stomach. And
Imagine if you had to manually pump your own heart when
Yeah.
you're like, okay, he's like sitting here like, hey. Like, thank God we don't have to do that.
I remember like when I was a kid, I was like, what is breath? Oh, well, fuck.
Yeah,
now
you
I'm
were
thinking
talking
about
about
breathing.
yeah.
It's like, now I have to think about breathing. It's like, now I have to manually breathe. Like,
Oh, that reminds me. I had a question I wanted to ask you. I was watching some, what was it? It might have been One Punch Man, where, One Punch Man is like very tongue in cheek.
oh, yeah.
Like it's making fun of that whole like the destined hero and like
Yeah.
all that shit or
the
whatever.
whole genre.
The whole genre. But it was like, the main bad guy of like season 2, he like had a childhood trauma that caused him to become the villain or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I have something like that? Like if I was like, what would my childhood trauma be if I was going to be an anime villain? And I know exactly what it is. I had like an awakening.
Yeah.
When I was in primary school, I want to say 2nd grade, I was always a little shithead in school. I was constantly getting into trouble. But if you were good that month, you would get on no, or it might have been weekly. I don't remember. But on like Friday before recess,
Yeah.
if you were good, you that week or month or whatever it happened to be, you get a slush puppy.
Yeah.
Which anybody who doesn't know, a slush puppy is just like a was like a
Yeah, it's like a shaved ice almost.
shaved ice
Yeah.
drink, but it's a
Yeah.
little bit more liquidy or whatever. But it was like
Like the ice is sort of like little balls almost. Yeah.
but it was like the best shit ever.
yeah, yeah. I love slush puppies. They're
It was
amazing.
just sugar water with ice in
Oh,
it
yeah.
and fruit flavoring. But I never got one because I was too busy being a little bastard. So I really hunkered down one month. I said,
Yeah.
this month is my month. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
going to be a good boy.
You're just sitting in the class like,
Yeah, I was fighting, just like I want to punch that kid, but I kind of have the slush puppy. So I was really good for that whole month. And when they called you out of recess, they did it alphabetical. So our last name starts with a W, so we were usually the last ones to get called. So I'm just waiting, like, oh, they're gonna call my name. I was been so good this month, and they said Gary Wright, and I was like, yeah, baby, yeah, I'm getting my fucking slush puppy. And I went over there, I just walked over there all proud, and I snatched that motherfucker up, and I went to go run down the stairs to go down to the fucking field and have recess with my slush puppy, and I fucking ate shit at the bottom of the stairs and spilled my slush puppy. And I was like, well, surely I can go get another one. Surely I can. And I go back upstairs, and I go up to the lady, and I was like, hey, I fell down and I spilled my slush puppy.
Yeah.
Now remember, I've been a little bastard all year, so of course she's probably thinking, yeah, right, you little fucker. You little fat ass probably went down there and chugged the thing and then came back up here and spilled a little bit on your shirt to make it believable. So I was like, I spilled my slush puppy. I was like, could I get another one?
Yeah.
And she was like, no. And I was just like, no. And that would be my origin story. Like, if I can't have a slush puppy, nobody can. I'd be like Dr. Rotten or something like that.
I don't know what mine would be. I'd have to think on it. I mean, I've had plenty of like embarrassing moments that probably could have led to like my demise.
Your demise?
Yeah. like I remember one time, like when I was like in third grade maybe. Like I was wearing like a white T-shirt with some type of graphic on it or whatever.
Yeah.
Around third grade was when it was like, yeah, you got to start wearing some deodorant. Like it's it's starting to kick up a funk.
Yeah.
And so, but it hadn't quite got to that point yet.
Yeah.
But it had gotten to the point where like I would like you'd sweat and then you'd like get the stains on your shirt.
Yeah. Like
just from the sweat or whatever. Because like if it's an old white T-shirt, it's gonna have pit stains in it.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
White shirts don't stay white very long.
No. And
especially if you're a little fucking kid.
Yeah, and I remember like I was like wearing this white T-shirt, and it was like I didn't know like not that it was a big deal, and like some other kid was like, ooh, they're like, look at those ugly yellow stains you got on your T-shirt,
and all the kids were like, ah.
And I'm sure like probably they forgot about it 10 seconds later, like whatever.
Yeah.
And then like I'm over in the corner just like fucking horrified, like I gotta wear this stupid fucking T-shirt for the rest of the day. And then, like, from then on, I was like, only dark T-shirts. And I still only wear dark T-shirts.
And you remembered that your whole life. Man.
Yeah, I guess I could have been the Oblivion.
I have to wear darker T-shirts. It's never dark enough. You'd be the Void.
The Void.
And then, like, they would figure out, like, why does he want all the blackness for himself?
Yeah.
So no one can see my pit stains.
You start getting, it's like, what is it? It's smelling B.O.
But I can't tell where it's coming from. I'm trying to think. The other day, I was reminiscing about some embarrassing things that happened in school, and the worst time I ever shit my pants, aside from that time I was on the homecoming football field after eating all those crystals and tacos, I remember one morning I woke up and I was really hungry.
Yeah.
Which it was weird because like in high school I didn't really eat breakfast. I really wasn't hungry until
I still really don't eat breakfast ever.
Yeah, well, I do now because I have like a protein goal I have to hit.
Yeah.
So I eat like a protein bar and a protein oatmeal and a banana in the morning. But other than that, like even then I have to like really I gotta
make
like
yourself do it,
force myself to eat it because like as soon as I wake up, like within that first like 30 minutes, I don't want to eat anything. But I woke up, I was really hungry, and Mom hadn't gone to the grocery store yet.
Yeah.
So we didn't really have anything in the house. And I was like, there's got to be fucking something to eat.
No.
And I found this bag of frozen peas and carrots. Like a microwave, like a steam fresh bag. And I mean, it was like for like a family. Yeah. You know, it wasn't like a single serving. Yeah. So I microwaved that bag of peas and carrots. I ate the whole fucking thing. And like as soon as I pulled out of the driveway to go to school, my stomach was like, oh. I kind of had a thought like maybe I should just be late and go to the bathroom or something. I was like, nah, it'll be fine. So I got to school and I was walking from the parking lot to the 500 hall. Is that the one that was next to the band room? Was that the 500 hall?
I think so. Yeah, I think that was the 500 hall.
Yeah. So I haven't made it to the sidewalk yet. I was stepping up onto the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And I put a little bit too much trust in a fart. And when the fart came, he had some company. And I was like, oh, fuck, I just shit my pants. I was like, I really just shit my pants. Like, I feel it down there. And so, like, I said nothing to my friends.
Yeah.
Because I was a band kid, of course, next to the band room, of course, that's where they all are.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, Gary, I'm like, I go past them and I go down the hallway to the bathroom. And I'm like, the rest of it's trying to come. And I'm like, I'm fighting it. I'm just, please let me get to the bathroom.
Your butt cheeks are quivering.
I was like, please let me get to the bathroom. I got to the bathroom and I threw my pants down and I started shitting before like my ass hit the toilet. But it sounded like somebody took BBs and dumped them into the toilet bowl. It was like a bunch of plingy noises. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I looked, and in my underwear, sitting around my ankles, was just peas and carrots. No poop. Nothing at all. Just peas and carrots. Like I did.
Just like, nope.
Move that
Send
on through.
That right through.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't even look like it was chewed. It looked like I just cut the bag open and poured it in my pants. And I looked at the toilet bowl, and it's just peas and carrots. I mean, it's all it was. And I was like, well, I guess, it's all there. But I mean, it takes like what 15 minutes to get from our house to the school. So for like 15 minutes of me eating it, it came right out.
Yeah, this is like, how in the world did it, like, your body just fast tracked it?
Oh yeah, I was like, get that fuck out of here.
Bad decision.
Yeah, why was that a better option than puke it back up? Right?
Yeah.
My body was like, nope, send that one all the way through. There might be some vitamins somewhere.
I guess your body's like, we'll try to get some vitamins out of it at some point.
By the way, did you happen to see like a house on fire or anything when you came here?
Not that I remember.
Because I swear to God, it smells like a bonfire outside. It's very smoky, and I still smell smoke in here a little bit. Are you smelling that at all? I just wanted to make sure there wasn't some crazy.
Maybe you got COVID.
Oh, fuck. Maybe.
Maybe I have COVID because I can't smell it.
At least I've got the vaccine. Govern me harder, Daddy.
Yeah. Do you see that where they're trying to do a booster shot or whatever?
I have seen that, yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think that I think long run, what we're going to see with this is that, COVID's not going to go away.
I think it's going to be sort of like the flu.
I think it's going to be sort of like the flu.
I think it's going to be like the summer flu, too. I think you'll see next year where it'll spike during the summer.
Yeah. I feel fine. I've got the vaccine. Whatever. Yeah. I'm not afraid of COVID or anything like that. I understand that, it killed a lot of people. And it is dangerous, and you should take it seriously.
No.
If you want to get vaccinated, go ahead and get vaccinated. If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. The government can't make you do that.
Oh, I agree with that. Same way.
But I think you should get vaccinated. I have a good reason not to.
Yeah. Like, there's some people that, like, they're like what is it? They're allergic to, like, some of the carrier or whatever it is they use to...
Like the protein.
Yeah, the protein or whatever it is.
I have seen that,
to it or whatever.
And there's some concern about it affecting fertility.
Yeah.
Which I can understand if that's, kind of what's putting you on hold. But, I haven't seen anything that really substantiates that claim.
My biggest thing is that what they're trying to do now is that they're trying to get healthy children to take it.
Yeah. I saw that the other day, too.
I'm kind of really opposed to that.
Yeah.
Just necessarily because, just the statistics show that children aren't necessarily as adverse a risk to it.
The thing is that there's a risk when you get a vaccine.
Yeah.
Getting a vaccine is a risk.
It's a risk.
It is. And, you shouldn't put your child at risk when he doesn't need to be.
Well, also, too, let's also not make believe that we understand what the long-term effects of these vaccines are anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So if there was like some type of like long-haul issue, it's like I as an adult decided to get this vaccine, so it's sort of on me at this point. You know what I mean? It's like I don't want to put that on my kid.
Right.
And if my kid have complications from it, it's like, well, I was the person, and it'd be like, well, all this, I decided to do it because I was told by professionals that was the best thing to do.
Yeah.
I
still, when I have my first kid or whatever, they're still going to get like the polio.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff that's
been around for forever.
50, 60 fucking years. They've had plenty of time to see if there's adverse effects to it.
Yeah, I'm just, the fact that it came out within a year or a year and a couple months or whatever, did you really go through the trials you said you went through or...
I think a lot of that is...
And just also, too, the pharmacy industry, just like, do I really trust them that much anyway?
Well, you kind of also have to look at the other side of this thing, too, where it's like, the last time that a vaccine was needed to be made like this was with fucking polio. Yeah. And, like on a large scale, we got to get this out to the public.
Yeah.
Like that was, think about when that was made and the technology that they had at the time and the communication abilities they had at the time. Well, here we are in 2021 where we've got instant communication. We've got all this technology. Like there's no reason to think that we couldn't feasibly create a vaccine in a short amount of time.
No.
Like it does seem a little iffy
No.
considering how long it usually takes and all that stuff. And I got the Pfizer vaccine before it was FDA approved.
No.
But I read up on it and I was like, I feel safe taking this thing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any nefarious intent behind it.
Yeah, my main thing was just because we have family members that have issues with.
Right.
Something that would if I was to give it to them, then it would be an issue.
Right.
Especially before everybody got vaccinated. So it wasn't necessarily even like if I was a single person that I lived in Florida and I never came home or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I would have been less apt to get it, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But because of the other people that are around me, that's sort of the reason why I got it. The fact that I have a family, I travel all the time for work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah, I mean you're around the denizens of the world because you travel all over the fucking place.
Yep, I'm in Hartsfield Jackson all the time.
Yeah, I mean
you talk about a dirty fucking place.
yeah. You probably need to get fucking malaria vaccines or something. West Nile.
Yeah, well I remember when they had the big outbreak in Sacramento. I was flying out of Fresno. I was like, "There's no way I'm not going to get this."
Yeah, wasn't there like another Ebola scare pretty recently?
I don't know.
I feel like that. I feel like I heard that.
I've kind of gotten to the point where I just don't look at the news anymore.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
I'm tired of being scared.
I'm tired of being scared. I'm going to read things I want to read about. Like,
I'm just going to lean into the stuff that makes me happy.
Yeah, it's like if the world comes crumbling to an end, then it is what it is.
Yeah. Speaking of what makes me happy, cringe videos. We've got to talk about our Super Cringe Thursday video we posted 5 weeks ago.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Let's bring it up. Let's watch it one more time so that we can get a really good idea. Remember what this thing is because I think I've forgotten about it.
It was the guy dressed up as the Mia Khalifa diss track meme person, and he was doing the dance in front of. It was another classroom cringe video.
Yeah, I do remember now. No, I don't want to create an Instagram page.
Well, the video is of him miming a video of somebody lip syncing a song.
Oh, that hit or miss or whatever.
Yeah, hit or miss. Do you know that song is, like I said, it's a Mia Khalifa diss track? Mia Khalifa as in the porn star.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Somebody made a diss, like, I don't know what the beef was there, but like I've listened to the song and it's a terrible song. It's so bad. But the production quality of the video is actually really good. Like, it's actually impressive.
Imagine being the person that's like producing the video, like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it was very weird. It was like they really spent a lot of money having it produced, but like the song itself is garbage.
You think about how bad the song is and like how much work probably went into getting it into the state that it was.
Oh, yeah.
How bad it could have been.
Like where it started.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever hear Trying to Fuck Megatron? No. I'll show that to you later. But anybody listening, look up Trying to Fuck Megatron and then look up the Tyler, the Creator remix of Trying to Fuck Megatron and see what kind of magic a good producer can do.
Yeah.
But this cringe video, it's another one of those instances of why? As the man in the video says, bro, why, dude? That guy at the end.
Was it a dude up in the front?
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it's a dude in the original video. Hey, fuck, it might be. Very androgynous, whoever it is.
Yeah, I had no clue. I thought it was a girl. I didn't know.
I just, he woke up that morning and he ate his cornflakes and he said, "Today's the day. I'm doing the hit or miss dance right in front of the fucking AP biology. It's happening." Yeah. The thing that gets me is like the lights were off and like the projector was like, so they had like this like,
it was like very thought out.
Yeah, he didn't jump up in the middle of his class and start doing this.
Yeah.
They set this up for him and he did it, and it was like the thing that kills me is the guy at the end. He doesn't bully the kid for doing the dance in front of the class. He just asks, "Bro,
yeah, why?
Why, dude?"
Yeah.
There's disappointment in his voice.
Yeah. It's like, why did you subject all of us to this?
Yeah. It's like why
this cringe.
And not just us, but you.
Yeah. Like,
sir.
Yeah, you, sir, have now stained your own reputation.
When I first watched that video and I heard that guy at the end,
like, I cannot imagine being a junior or a senior in high school.
Yeah.
And getting up, well, fuck, I don't know. I don't remember half the shit I ever did as a kid. I'm sure most of it was fucking cringe, too.
Yeah, but it wasn't recorded and put on the internet.
But I don't think I ever at any point voluntarily did something like that. Like, oh, I'm going to get up in front of the class and, like, force everybody to watch me do this dance.
Yeah.
And, like, we're going to take time out of our day.
Yeah. Out of our school day.
Out of our school day. So that I can project this YouTube video up onto the wall and do this little funky dance or whatever.
Where did the confidence come from?
Yeah, it's very misguided confidence.
Yeah, it really is like unearned arrogance. Yeah. He thought that was going to go over well. It's like, it's like when you see people on American Idol who obviously cannot sing.
And they get mad.
And they get mad when they get told.
Yeah.
Well, it's because like everybody in their family or around them like, yeah, you could totally sing.
Yeah.
They didn't have the fucking balls.
Yeah, but like, you sound like shit.
Or the love for that person to tell them, don't go on a fucking TV show and do this in front of people.
Don't do this.
And actually, I know a little bit about how that process works. You don't just stand in a line and then get to stand in front of Simon Cowell. I mean, they do background checks on you. You have to perform in front of like preliminary judges before you even get on the show. So they heard that awfulness and said, that makes for great TV. Please get in front of Simon Cowell.
Yeah.
So there's some of that there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just think about the mass of people. It's like you're talking 10, 12,000 people a day.
Yeah.
Like when it was at its height.
That they've got a screen.
That they have to screen. There's no way. There's no way.
And William Hung was in that crowd.
See,
and he made it in front of Simon Cowell.
I have so much respect for that dude.
Oh, yeah.
Because he just played into it. He's like, oh, yeah? It sounds bad? Okay, well, I'll just sell a CD and we'll find out how bad it sounds.
Here comes the fucking album. Get ready. God, that makes me... I'm curious. Let's find out.
I had so much respect for him when he did that. I remember because when they said that he was coming out with a CD, I was like, you know what? It's like, I would consider buying that.
William Hung net worth, $600,000. If you consider the level of talent, that's good.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Got more money than I got.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't think I'll ever see $600,000.
I wonder how many of the CDs he sold.
I don't know. I mean, it's just... He very quickly became a part of like pop culture.
Yeah, isn't it strange too? Like there's some phenomenon like that.
He was a meme.
Like he was really like that was sort of like at the beginning of like meme culture, like the very beginning of meme culture,
like the primordial ooze.
Yeah,
of meme culture.
Like before Pepe the Frog,
yeah,
and the
Rage Face comics,
and Rage Face and Phil's Bad Man,
yeah,
and all that stuff. There, like that was kind of like
there was William Hung.
Yeah,
yeah,
and he just okay, and then he just played into it, and then he made all this money.
Yeah, he made $600,000 over the course of however long.
Yeah. So it's interesting to kind of look at it like that because then you look at like other people that have made not they haven't made millions of dollars, but I mean they've made a career.
Yeah.
Like out of music, especially like you think about Krispy Kreme.
Yeah. I don't know if that's an act or not.
Have you like listened to any of his other stuff?
Like any of his Krispy Kreme songs or any of his
his
solo
stuff he's doing
stuff?
now, like on the piano.
He's very talented.
He's very talented.
Yeah, he's super duper talented, but he still has that Krispy Kreme like persona.
Yeah.
But I can't figure out if that's a character or if that's who he is. Like it comes off really genuine.
Yeah.
You know?
Him and was it Killer Mike?
Moneymaker Mike.
Yeah, Moneymaker Mike.
Killer Mike's an actual rapper.
Yeah, Moneymaker Mike.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure he's never done anything. He's just his nerdy friend that stands in the background of his videos.
The funniest part about that whole video is he had like snot in his nose.
Yeah, a little bit of boogers. A little bit of runny nose standing in our cold basement. It's like even his song, like Same Old Kid. You ever heard Same Old Kid? That's a good song. I'm sorry, but it is actually a good song. It's a ridiculous Krispy Kreme song, but it's actually good.
Well, like...
I'm sorry, Froggy Fresh.
Yeah, Froggy Fresh, Krispy Kreme, and I think...
Matter of fact, he made that song in response to having to change his name. Because the message of the song is, I'm going to keep doing me, and you're never going to keep me down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, dude, you named yourself exactly after Krispy
You can't
Kreme.
just be like, I'm the rapper at Burger King. Like, eventually they're gonna say, hey, come on.
Yeah, you can't be doing that, dude. It'd be like if I was like if I started like a rock band and we just like called ourselves In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah. Or Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin. Everybody's like, you can't use that name.
Do that.
And like, I've literally never heard of another Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, tell me one Led Zeppelin song, asshole. Which, by the way, Led Zeppelin's never won a Grammy.
Really? I didn't know that.
Nirvana's won like one. And I don't like Nirvana, but you have to look at the influence, right?
You know, I don't know if, with kids these days or whatever, but that's a very old thing to say. But
it's true.
Is rock even really a thing anymore?
There's still new rock bands coming.
Yeah.
It's not as prolific as it used to be because I think the thing now that it gets really popular is like people making their own music themselves.
Yeah.
Like with, doing rap songs. Like look, fucking Billie Eilish. I mean, it was just her and her brother, I'm pretty sure, just making songs in like Fruity Loop Studio, like the free version.
Really?
And then, look at her now. She's like a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
And everybody loves her and everything.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of instances of that. Post Malone was the same thing. Lil Yachty was the same thing.
Yeah.
Travis Scott, before he murdered a bunch of people at his
Astro
World or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't blame Travis Scott for that. That was all the audience.
The only thing that I'll say about that is I saw the video where he was telling them to jump over the barricade. And like at that point, now
was he yagging it on a little
now
bit?
you're putting security in danger.
Yeah.
Like if I was somebody that's working security, I'd be like, fuck this. And I got the fuck up out of there.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not getting paid $11 a fucking hour for you to start telling people to jump over this goddamn barricade.
Yeah.
I'm the fuck out of here. Like,
I love watching videos of people rushing stage or rushing an artist or something like that and getting fucking laid out.
Did you see the video from Welcome to Rockville where that girl pissed on that guy?
Yes.
I saw that. Like I saw the full video.
I did too.
And I was like, whoa.
It was a lot of pee.
It was a lot of pee.
It was a lot of pee.
I was like, fuck, man. We should have been there.
I could have been peed on. The worst part about that video...
I could have seen that in real life. I'll never get that chance again.
Yeah, because nobody's going to follow that up. What's next? Shit on somebody's chest?
It's like poo into somebody's mouth. Like a soft serve machine.
The worst part about that video is the guy stands up, and he scoops up the pee in his hands, and he throws it into this crowd. Like, whoa, dude! Like, if you want to be, part of that, that's you. Don't drag me into it. I'm not in the splash zone.
Yeah,
here.
I saw that video, and I watched. Do you know who Andrew Schultz is?
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's like a comedian. He has a podcast, and he was talking, and he made a good point. He was like, I've never seen it profile. He's like, where you saw her profile and then pee like that. He was like, it just goes everywhere.
Yeah.
He's like, it's a very inefficient way to pee.
Yeah, women don't have, it's not streamlined. Like, mine comes out in kind of like a helix pattern.
Yeah.
But it's a solid stream.
Yeah.
It's not like spraying all over the place. What a mess. Got it everywhere. It reminded me of Rock Bitch. Have you heard about Rock Bitch? Rock Bitch was they were a rock band, but it was a bunch of women, but they were also kind of like a pagan sex cult. So like in their shows, they would like bring like audience members up on stage and like fuck them during the show and like stuff like that. Yeah, they would.
It's a bit extreme.
They would throw out condoms into the crowd, but there was like one golden condom. Like, I got the golden condom, and they would like go backstage, and the whole girl band would fuck whoever the lucky person was, girl or guy, that caught the golden condom. And I think they were only like a band for a couple of years, and then they just decided to be just a sex cult after that.
Yeah, well,
but here's the thing.
If you're doing that kind of stuff, that's kind of
their music's not bad.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good.
Well, I know that the band with the old pee-pee pants up there, I think they're a Rage Against the Machine cover band.
I was about to say I'd never heard of them before.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that really stood out to me in that video was the guy playing the trombone. And I was like, was this like a ska band? Yeah. Like, what is this? Like the fucking Mighty Mighty Boss tones. He's like fucking pissing into the crowd. Never had to knock on wood.
You ever heard somebody that says that song sounds like it's the song that a 13-year-old hears in his head when he gets some mozzarella sticks?
The bad part is it's so accurate.
Oh, yeah.
So accurate. There was like a week there where I tried to get
Like
into ska music.
Frosted Tips, like the Guy Fieri shirts or whatever.
But yeah, I tried to get into ska music.
I like Sublime. Sublime ska.
Is Sublime ska?
I've always heard them referred to as ska.
Anything with like a brass instrument.
Yeah.
Like
I really don't. What would you call them if they weren't ska?
Well, yeah, I guess so. I guess they are ska. Have you ever heard of Less Than Jake?
That name sounds really familiar.
That band is the reason why I tried to get into ska. I was like, hey, I actually really like this. This kind of it's like a ska version of Blink-182.
Yeah.
I was like, I kind of like this. And, of course, Mighty Mighty Ballstones, and I heard some of their stuff, and I liked that. And then Real Big Fish, when I heard their music, I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
This one band ruined this genre for me. I'm going to stick to what I know.
Wasn't Real Big Fish the one that did the intro for Malcolm in the Middle?
Are they?
I think so. No, that's They Might Be Giants, I think.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, which, that's not really ska, though.
I'm trying to think how that intro goes.
It's like, he's like, you're not the boss of me now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't think that was Real Big Fish. I might be wrong.
I think it was They Might Be Giants. I can't quite remember. What kind of genre of music would that be? It was very 2000s.
I don't know if I'm super familiar with They Might Be Giants. But yeah, when you say early 2000s, like I'm thinking like the Shrek soundtrack. Like that, like
Shrek
all of that music.
And Malcolm in the Middle. And
if Shrek was made today, if Shrek came out today, same attitude, right?
Yeah.
What songs would be in the movie, do you think?
That's a good question. I don't really keep up with like music nowadays, so I'm not really sure.
I think,
or at least not today's music.
I think that there would be some Bruno Mars.
You think
in
so?
There, I think there would be because even at the time,
because Smash Mouth was real big at that time.
Yeah, well, anything from that era, that year, and 10 years earlier. Yeah. It kind of was what made it into that track. There's like a very specific attitude of the movie that matched that music. But it is very much a product of the time. You know, what is his name? Chris Farley?
The one that did the Chip and Dale's Saturday Night Live thing?
Yeah. He was almost the voice of Shrek.
Really?
Yes, and you can actually find his demo reel where they did like a little bit like a sketch up scene. It's the scene where Shrek's talking to Donkey about how everybody hates him because he's an ogre.
Yeah.
Is Chris Farley's voice lines are Shrek in that scene.
But that's interesting to hear.
It is interesting to hear. It's and they kind of drew him up differently. Yeah. He seems like a bit more abrasive.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, his delivery was fantastic, and I think health problems are why he didn't. Why they ended up going.
That had to have been getting real close. I thought he probably would have died before then.
Because I don't think Mike.
When did he die?
I don't think Mike Myers was their first choice, but Mike Myers is the quintessential.
Oh yeah.
Shrek.
Yeah.
Nobody could ever be Shrek except for Mike Myers.
No.
Ever.
And isn't it interesting that like his dad was Scottish and that's where he got that accent from?
Really? Is he based it off of him?
Yeah, he based it off his dad.
That's funny.
I think that's the story. Isn't it? And Mike Myers has done some interesting, like he did the Cat in the Hat, which which I will say there are some parts in that movie that are really funny.
Yeah.
But are not appropriate at all.
On the whole, that movie's kind of hard to get through.
Yeah. But are certainly not appropriate for the age group that it was directed at. Like the part where he's got like the hoe, he's like, you dirty hoe.
He's like, I'm sorry, baby, you know I love you. I feel like a lot of that was him improvising, though.
Oh, yeah.
It makes you want to see like what got cut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's funny you talk about Mike Myers and his dad because I recently posted the video from Goldmember where they played that song "Daddy Wasn't There." That song is so good. That song is actually really good.
Have you ever seen? He did another movie called The Love Guru.
I've never seen it. I
And
know of it, but I've never seen it.
He did a cover of Dolly Parton's 9 to 5, and it was actually really good.
He's a good singer.
He is a good singer.
Yeah.
And you know who else can really sing is Jim Carrey. Because
Really?
he did, what's that song by Oasis? The Jumper. Where he's like, wish you would step back from that ledge,
and
my friend.
Yes Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
sings that. And he sang it really well.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Jim Carrey.
It's interesting, like, when you actually see an actor that can do the stuff that, like, the actors back in the day had to do. Like, back in the day, like, you had to be able to act and sing and dance and all that other stuff.
You could not be a one-trick pony.
No.
You had to do it all.
Yeah.
And you had an agent that sounded like this.
Yeah.
We're
gonna get you to the big times.
We're going to get you to the big time, sweetheart.
Yeah.
You got moxie. Listen, you're really cute and everybody likes you, but if you want to get ahead in this business, you're going to have to suck a couple dicks. You think I got this voice from smoking cigarettes?
It's just like some old lady with like this big beehive.
Like a horrible wig,
beehive
holding a
wig.
little dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is some frail old woman. Like with his like Gucci purse.
Jim Carrey is nobody could be the Grinch.
Yeah, he's the Grinch.
He's the Grinch.
He is the Grinch.
I actually really like that movie.
It's a
I
fantastic
still
movie.
like that movie just
Yeah.
for him. He's he just kills that part.
I was like, have you ever watched the Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
Yeah.
He carries the movie.
He absolutely. I knew that he would.
Yeah.
The moment that they revealed that he was Dr. Eggman, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, he's going to steal the show.
He carries the movie.
It was like, when they redesigned Sonic, it was like, yeah, he looks better, but now it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like that Sonic,
I
seen him a
don't
bunch of
know if
times.
They really did that though.
Yeah, we've tossed
Yeah.
around that conspiracy
That
theory, which I
conspiracy
think
theory.
I wholeheartedly believe that was the
Yeah.
case.
Because they were like, yeah, we'll re-release it in 6 months. I was like,
No, it was like it was premiering in 6 months,
Yeah.
and then they were like, "Here's the trailer,"
Yeah.
and everybody was like, "What the fuck is that?" They're like, "Oh, don't worry, guys, we'll get it fixed." They don't know that we only made that horrible thing for the trailer,
just for those scenes,
just for those. Yeah.
Because I remember when they the first time, like I saw somebody like, you have got to see this trailer. And I like, as soon as like they showed the part where he like screams, I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Oh.
I was like, the teeth.
Yeah, the teeth, the human teeth was just not good. So not good. I noticed that they used that actor, whoever it was that played like the male lead in that movie. I don't know that guy's name.
Oh yeah,
But he is always in movies where there's a CGI cartoon character.
Yeah, wasn't he was in the one with Detective Pikachu? Wasn't that him?
I've never seen Detective Pikachu, so I can't say. But he was in the one
I've
with...
seen the first 5 minutes of it. I think he's the one that's in that movie.
He was
or was
the
it
one-
Ryan Reynolds?
He was the one that was in the Easter Bunny movie. Hop, is that what it's called?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was, wasn't he?
Which
He was also in Sex Drive. Have you ever seen that movie?
I fucking love Sex Drive.
The part where he finds out his brother stole his car and he's riding that dirt bike.
Yeah.
And he just like slams it to the ground. The dirt bike's like sliding down the road. And he's like, "No, brother of mine's going to take it in the chili hole." And then it turns out he's gay or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, thank you so much for the juicer."
I love Seth Green in that movie. He
Oh,
plays
yeah.
the Amish guy. He's like,
Yeah.
he can't really get a read on whether or not he's being sarcastic or not. He's like,
That's
"Oh
such
yeah,
a
I
great
love fixing
movie.
other people's cars for no pay."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it."
That's such a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
I miss, you really don't see like comedy movies like that much anymore. Like just kind of these out of nowhere comedy movies that kind of come out of,
Yeah, just like out of somebody's head.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think like with comedy though, it
Like
has,
accepted.
Yeah, with comedy though, I think they try to make it too corporatized. Like they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have like a team of writers who's gonna
Yeah.
write this comedy movie."
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you can't do that.
Well, I think a lot of that comes from the people that are producing and publishing.
Yeah, it's probably
Like, you
true.
can write a movie, but we want our people on the writing team. Like, well, you're kind of killing my vision then.
No.
Like, well, then you're not getting your fucking movie. Yeah, it's very corporatized.
Yeah, and you can't. I don't think you can do that with comedy because people can smell the bullshit.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like,
People can also tell when you're wasting their fucking time. Like, Meet the Spartans.
No. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think with that, I think they kind of did that in good faith. Like you kind of knew going in what this was.
I went into it expecting to like it. I'll give you that, but I did not care for it at all.
Isn't it interesting how like you kind of grow out of some things like that?
Yeah.
And some of you kind of grow out of it like immediately, like while you're in it, you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Whoa. I'm not really digging this anymore. Yeah, like there's a timer ticking down. Like all of a sudden you're a changed person.
Yeah, like come out your friends like, I really like that movie. You're like, that movie fucking sucks.
Oh, we can't be friends anymore.
I remember one time, me and a bunch of my friends had gone out and we went to go see a movie and I left my wallet in the car or something like that. Or I left it somewhere. Might have been like the person's house. And they went to go see, it was an R-rated movie. I remember it was Mr. Brooks. This is the one that they wanted to go see.
Mr. Brooks.
Yeah. I've never even seen the movie.
Never even heard of that.
Yeah, so it was like back in 2007, like when I had just first turned 17, so I was able to get into the R-rated movies.
Yeah.
And so they wouldn't let me in. I didn't have my ID. So I was like, what else you got playing? And they're like, well, we got Shrek the Third. So I was like, yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah, so me and Bradley Picklesheimer went and saw Shrek the Third. Well, everybody else had watched the R-rated movie. And then I came out there like, how was Shrek? I was like, it was amazing.
It was actually really good. I liked it a lot. Mike Myers at his best.
Yeah. He hit another home run. What can I say?
Well, that's about time for us today. Here on episode 19 of the Thicc Bois podcast. We hopefully will go into the new year spitting out episodes like nobody's business. Thank you, everybody, for waiting. We do appreciate the patience. Oh, also, hello to Lane.
Yes, hello, Lane.
I promised him that we would say hello.
There
so
we
if you stuck it out this far, there you go. There's your promise kept.
1 year in.
1 year in.
On the 1 year anniversary. We'll call it 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, 1 year anniversary, whatever. Any closing statements, closing remarks?
Nope. Just thank you for the continued support. Yeah. Thank you for continuing to listen to the podcast, and also happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Tomorrow this the night before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and I'm planning to hurt myself and ruin all this work that I've done to lose weight and better myself. Might just throw it all down the drain.
Why not? It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
get some turkey, get some tryptophan
season
in you.
Yeah, but tryptophan, is that what the sleepy chemical is?
You know, they say that it doesn't like make you sleepier, but I've heard other people say it's bullshit.
Whatever.
I think it's just the amount of food that you eat.
Yeah, I think you just go into a food coma.
Yeah, your body's just like, well, I can't do too many
we got to shut down.
Yeah.
We just, yeah.
I need to take care of all this that's in your gut right now.
Just pull the plug on everything else. Just focus on this.
It's like you got a lot of mac and cheese in there.
You do realize you ate 10 potatoes worth of mashed potatoes, right? That's a lot of carbs, buddy. But yeah, thanks again, everybody, for listening. We hope that you enjoyed yourself. Be on the lookout for new episodes and new content and everything, all that good stuff coming in year 2 of the Thicc Bois podcast. And thank you and goodbye.
Bye, bye.